In the previous presentation, I discussed the process of preparing data for analysis and the first step in analysis, coding. Here we'll examine data displays, which help researchers draw and evaluate conclusions from qualitative data. Remember that in qualitative data analysis, we're looking to identify concepts, patterns, and relationships. Coding the data helps us with that, but we still have a large amount of textual data to understand. Data displays help researchers differentiate among concepts and identify patterns or relationships. There are 4 data displays that we'll review here. A taxonomy is a system of ordered classification. So a table of contents is an example of this, even if it's not a research example. You're already familiar with data matrix from last week's chapter. In qualitative analysis, a data matrix includes columns for each individual in your study, and the coding categories are in the rows. A typology is a representation of findings based on the interrelationship between 2 or more ideas, concepts, or variables. So typology sounds similar to a taxonomy, but a good way to distinguish between the two is to remember that typologies classify according to a general type. So what type of homeless individual, for example? Lastly, flowcharts are diagrams that display processes. Let's look at some examples using the study Down Under Luck, a study of homeless street people. This first data display is a taxonomy, a system of ordered classification. So during analysis, the researchers are classifying the different phenomena that they encounter in their data. In this display, the researchers are classifying the phenomena of how the homeless engage in material survival strategies. So they grouped different livelihood strategies into institutional assistance, wage labor, and shadow work. Within each of these categories, there are subcategories. So this taxonomy illustrates to researchers the different ways that the homeless find work or livelihood strategies. Here is a data matrix. This is a data matrix including information from 4 homeless individuals on 8 different dimensions. Notice that the columns are the individual participants. Here are the rows that are representing or reporting the different coding categories and the variations within each category. For example, work, livelihood, and as you can see, they include various work examples, including wage, day labor, selling goods, and so on. So according to the information here, looking at this first row of wage, day labor, we see that the individuals 1 and 2 do not engage in wage or day labor. So they are noted as a 0. Individual 3 engages in it sometimes, while individual 4 relies on it often. So a data matrix is quite similar to a quantitative analysis because you are transforming your findings into numbers. But it helps you organize the different coding categories and discover how important each one is, meaning how many individuals represent this particular coding category. For example, if a lot of the individuals that you interview are selling plasma as a livelihood strategy. This is an example of a typology, which represents findings based on the interrelationship between 2 or more ideas, concepts, or variables. So remember that typologies classify according to general type. In this display, the authors found that there were 3 types of homeless individuals: the recently dislocated, straddlers, and outsiders. Straddlers and outsiders were further categorized. So typologies are different from taxonomies because while a taxonomy's categories might not have any relationship with each other, a typology does. Here, the relationship is that they're all homeless individuals, but their experiences with homelessness result in different types, whether that's a straddler or an outsider. Lastly, we have a flowchart. Flowcharts are diagrams that display processes. This display is showing us the different paths that the homeless might take. So looking at the recently dislocated, here in the top left corner, they might follow the path to institutionally adapted, which is a type of a straddler, according to the researchers' conceptual categories, or they might get off the street, either voluntarily or involuntarily. In summary, there are 4 data displays that you can use for this week's assignment and for the final exam. You'll have to decide which would work best with your data. Keep in mind that the first 3 are good at categorizing, with typologies being ideal for when you found theoretical concepts to explain different types of participants or experiences. And flowcharts are great at showing processes, how people arrive at things. Of course, most of you have completed only one interview, but you can still have a display for that one person and use theoretical hypotheses to create other categories or processes. So I offer an example of this in the instructions for the discussion board. This is the end of the presentation.